Here are the top stories for today, November 15, 2019. The DOTr reports accelerated spending in infrastructure due to the administration's Build, Build, Build program. Malacañang looks into proposals to implement a 4-day work week scheme. The NDRRMC thanks the public for participating in the 4th nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. And historic San Agustin Church undergoes cleanup and restoration.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story for today, the Department of Transportation on Thursday belied Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon's claim that the Build, Build, Build program was a dismal failure. The DOTr said it was grossly unfair to assess the success of the BBB program by exclusively looking at the implementation of flagship infrastructure projects, since many of these require immense pre-construction work, such as right-of-way acquisition and community resettlement. To further prove the accomplishment of the BBB program, the department cited several completed and ongoing infrastructure projects under DOTr. For airports, the DOTr said 133 projects are ongoing, while 64 have been completed, and these include the Sangli Airport in Cavite, which had operational dry run last month, the upgrade of Lalo International Airport's runway, which allowed the airport to receive its first international commercial flight in 2018, the Tacloban Airport's expanded terminal building, among many others. For railways, the DOTr said 6 projects are ongoing construction, plus 1 rehabilitation project. These projects include the Metro Manila subway, which broke ground in February, the MRT-7, which is now 50% completed, Common Station for various rail services in Metro Manila, which is also 50% complete, among others. Other projects include the country's first land port, the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, 243 completed seaport projects, and another 136 port projects are ongoing. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte would order the conduct of investigation on 2 cabinet secretaries accused of being involved in corruption. On August 14, PACC Commissioner Greco Belgica revealed that 2 incumbent cabinet secretaries are being investigated for supposed involvement in corrupt practices in government. The separate investigations launched in February against the 2 cabinet officials were prompted by the complaints submitted by the PACC. One of the complaints was lodged by an official from the Cabinet Secretary's department, while the other case was filed by a private citizen. Belgica refused to divulge the identity of the Cabinet Secretaries pending the results of the investigations. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said President Duterte would act swiftly by validating the allegations against 2 of his cabinet members once he receives a report from the PACC. Vice President and anti-drug czar Leni Robredo agreed that Oplan Tokhang will remain in place, but stressed the campaign must undergo a retooling. This as PNP officer in charge Lieutenant General Archie Gamboa met with Robredo and other members of the law enforcement cluster of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs to discuss the country's existing anti-drug strategy. Gamboa said they were able to convince Robredo that the Philippine anti-drug strategy is already a strategy that can be adapted. He said the meeting with Robredo went well, and she is convinced that the Tokhang double barrel Alpha Reloaded and now the community-based are in order. On Robredo seeking of the help of the United States, Gamboa said the PNP has been coordinating with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency. Gamboa proposed strict enforcement along borders to stop the shipment of illegal drugs into the country. He also believes that the country seeking intelligence information on illegal drugs from foreign counterparts is essential. Earlier, Gamboa vowed to fully support Robredo, and the PNP is ready for any possible changes in the drug war. He, however, said there is no need for the country's second highest ranking official to join anti-illegal drug operations. Cavite Representative Elpidio Barzaga Jr. on Thursday offered an alternative scheme to the proposed 4-day work week for government and private sector employees, which he said could be considered by Malacañang to ease the traffic problem in the country. In his proposal, Barzaga said government employees will work from Mondays to Thursdays starting from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. with an hour break time from noon to 1 p.m. Meanwhile, for private employees, he suggested that they work on a Tuesday to Friday schedule starting also from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and with 1 hour break time. The lawmaker said while employees will have to wake up and travel earlier than usual under his proposal, the rush hour would be eased due to the early time of work. The same is true with employees going home later at 6 p.m. Meanwhile, House Minority Leader Benny Abante Jr. on Wednesday sought the implementation of 4-day work week during the holiday season among private firms and non-frontline government agencies situated along EDSA, the country's busiest highway. Abante made the proposal as he anticipated heavy traffic during the Christmas season. Malacañang said it would look into the imposition of 4-day work week scheme during the holiday season. The DILG urged the youth to think twice and be more discerning before joining activities for National Students' Day. More on this and other news around the metro from Laid Cabagani.
DILG Secretary Eduardo Año on Thursday called on the youth to be more discerning before joining the series of events organized by an alliance of student councils in line with the observance of the National Students' Day. Año said the first National Students Youth Camp, which will be held on November 16 to 17, as well as the series of events from November 11 to 21 in several campuses of the University of the Philippines, are not being endorsed by the National Youth Commission. Año said while the government recognizes the right of the camp organizers, they too should be wary of becoming instruments of Communist Front organizations for recruitment. Meanwhile, the Commission on Election on Thursday identified 9 government offices where qualified OFWs who are still in the country may register as overseas voters. These are COMELEC in Intramuros, Manila, OWA, POEA, Marina, Commission on Filipino Overseas, DFA Asiana, DFA SM Manila, DFA in Alabang, Muntinlupa, and DFA Robinson's Galleria. In other news, the armies of Philippines and Brunei signed on Wednesday the terms of reference that would implement the Memorandum of Understanding on Defense Cooperation. The signing of the terms of reference, which serves as the guideline as well as the rules of procedure for future activities between the Philippine Army and Royal Brunei Land Forces, would implement the MOU on Defense Cooperation that 2 countries signed in 2001. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Cabagani.
Still to come, the NDRRMC thanks the public for participating in the 4th nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. LGUs in Central Zone vow to stop red tape by implementing ease of doing business. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Comprehensive economic partnership is a very important mechanism for the Philippines and the rest of ASEAN to compete in the world economy.
Item that the ASEAN discussed with China
is the proposal to remove one big uncertainty, and that is the uncertainty in the South China Sea. And the idea was essentially to push for the completion or the finalization of the Code of Conduct.
Every country must be rules-based. meaning we will have to respect international law. We will have to respect the UNCLOS.
In other words, we should be treating each other equally and fairly.
The Philippines maintain a healthy and good relationship with all countries. We are a developing country. We have to be a friend to all the countries.
This is Secretary Martin Andanar, and you're watching.
Defense and disaster officials held a press conference following the 4th National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill. Let's watch this.
Pagdating po sa tsunami, tatlong bagay po, tatlong salita po ang dapat nating tandaan for early warning. Okay? Shake, drop, roar. Hindi po yung pelikula na shake, rattle, and roll. Mga horror movies, series of horror movies. Hindi ho. Shake, drop, roar. Ibig sabihin po, bago dumating ang isang local tsunami, may tatlong senyales po yan. Okay? Una, the shaking itself, the earthquake itself could tell us that there's an impending earthquake, impending tsunami. May darating po na alon. Okay? Pangalawa, drop. Drop means sudden change in the sea level. So it could be may pagtaas na, pero hindi ganun kalaki. That could be the first wave. Remember po, the first wave is not necessarily the highest wave. So maaring yung susunod pa doon mas mataas. Ngayon, kung hindi po tayo lumisan, we are exposed to higher or greater danger. Okay? It could also mean sudden or unusual receding of the water. Biglang atras po yung tubig. Yung nangyari po sa Digos noong October 16, the earthquake happened at 7:37 in the evening. So, people there they felt the earthquake, nag-evacuate po sila kasi nakita po nila yung tubig ay umatras. Okay? Okay lang po yun, nag-evacuate sila kasi nakaramdam sila ng lindol, pero yung pag-atras po ng tubig ay hindi po attributed sa tsunami. It was because there was low tide. Pa-low tide na po yun. Chinek po namin yan sa Marigraph, yung tide levels po. Pa-low tide na po yun. Hindi po pwedeng mag-recede yung water kasi ang epicenter ng lindol noong October 16 ay nasa lupa. So when we inform the people that they are safe to go back to their houses, yung ilan po sa kanila medyo hesitant pa pong bumalik because of fear and, of course, misinformation. Okay? Pangatlo po, yung roar. Okay? Ibig sabihin po nun, may tunog or kakaibang tunog yung paparating na alon. Nung nandito po ako 2007 and we interviewed survivors of the 1994 Mindoro earthquake and tsunami, ang description po nila sa tunog ng alon ay parang malakas na buhos ng ulan. Midnight, madaling araw, walang ulan, pero narinig nila yung ganong tunog. So, ibig sabihin lang po nun na yung wall of water ay may kasama pong kakaibang tunog. So, ang tinuturo po namin ay kung isa lang po dito ang naramdaman, narinig, or nakita, the appropriate action to take is to evacuate and move to higher grounds. So, yung tatlong bagay po ang gusto po namin laging pinaparating at itinuturo po in turn ng mga nakakarinig po sa amin.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development in the Bicol region has its stockpiles ready for the effects of Tropical Storm Ramon. The DSWD has family food packs available at its warehouse in Albay, as well as non-food items such as tents and medicines, and 3 million pesos worth of standby funds for disaster operations. The agency's Disaster Response and Management Division is closely monitoring the weather updates. Meanwhile, the DSWD Field Office 5 Quick Response Teams, the Provincial Action Team, City Municipal Action Team members, and DSWD employees in the 6 provinces of Bicol are on standby and in coordination with the local disaster risk reduction and management offices. The Department of Trade and Industry is pushing a 300 million peso budget for the implementation next year of a new law providing incentives to registered startup companies. The DTI hopes to release the implementing rules and regulations of Public Act number 11337 within this month. DTI Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba said, under the Innovative Startup Act, the department will prioritize programs that will address the pain points of startups, such as difficulties in getting funds, mentoring, training, or marketing. President Rodrigo Duterte signed RA 11337 last April, providing benefits and programs to further develop startups and startup enablers in the country. The Department of Science and Technology, Department of Information and Communications Technology, and DTI will be the lead agencies of the said program. The local government units in Central Luzon commit to cut red tape and promote ease of doing business. And the Mindanao Development Authority launches a livelihood project for earthquake victims. More on these and other news from the provinces from Laid Kabagani.
Local government units in Central Luzon have pledged to fully implement the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act of 2018. The commitment was made during the 3rd Regional Convention of Central Luzon Business Permit and Licensing Officers Incorporated, held Wednesday in Clark Freeport Zone. Lawyer Marco Angelo Balicer, Executive Assistant to the Director General of the Anti-Red Tape Authority, asked stakeholders to help in strengthening the Anti-Red Tape Act and promote transparency and give no room for graft and corruption. Meanwhile, a post-disaster project that will help victims of the series of quakes in North Cotabato and Davao del Sur was designed and adopted by the Mindanao Development Authority. Minda Chair Emmanuel Piñol said that Tienda project aims helping quake victims by taking opportunity of the reduced economic activity due to the closure of most establishments. Under the concept, earthquake victims will be organized into cooperatives, which will operate the Tienda project in each area. Tienda outlets will be established on the first quarter of 2020 in all earthquake-affected areas. In other news, the Department of Trade and Industry in Central Visayas on Wednesday introduced a mobile app that can be used by consumers in determining substandard Christmas lights in the market. Trade regulation inspectors are now checking retailers suspected of selling substandard Christmas lights. The system was launched by the Bureau of Philippine Standards in Manila earlier this year. The agency has adopted precautionary measures against number of Christmas lights that do not pass standards for safety and durability. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Kabagani.
Up next, China calls for the restoration of order as protests continue in Hong Kong. And the historic San Agustin Church undergoes cleanup and restoration. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
This fun won't last unless we help out. It may be intimidating, but it's not impossible, and it all begins with a little respect. Plant more kindness into every day. Connect meaningfully to more things that matter. uncover more of what the country has to offer. By putting away what we no longer need, strengthen our ties to the past, and pave the way to an even more fun future. It all begins with a single step. It all begins with us. Together, we can make these views last. Save our spots, so it's more fun forever.
The Presidential Task Force on Media Security held a press conference in Malacañang on Friday afternoon on the killing of Dumaguete broadcaster Dindo Generoso. Task Force Chief Joel C. Egco reported that the gunman, who is an active policeman, is now under government custody. Let's watch this.
We are pleased to announce that Rubio is now in government custody. Caving in to mounting pressure due to an intensified manhunt, Mr. Rubio, unfortunately an active personnel of the Negros Oriental Provincial Mobile Force Company, gave himself up to his commanding officer, Police Lieutenant Colonel Judimar De Leon, at around 6 o'clock in the evening of November 13. The series of investigations and the filing of charges are a course of action that further proves and solidifies the administration's commitment to stamp out impunity against members of the media. The administration, through PCOO and the PT FOMS, shall continue to go after and hold accountable to law these perpetrators of media killings and violence in the Philippines, regardless of who or what they are and why they did it.
China has asked Hong Kong administration to deal strictly with protesters to restore normal life in the global financial hub, said media reports. Normal life remained hit on third consecutive day on Wednesday in the region as transport services were suspended. A protester was injured on Monday morning when he was shot at close range by a police officer. Students boycotted classes and wore face masks as a mark of protest. Chief Executive Carrie Lam described them as extremely selfish for attempting to paralyze the vibrant business hub. The South China Morning Post, quoting the Beijing liaison office representing Hong Kong and Macau affairs, said a harsher crackdown has become a necessity to end unrest and restore order. The Beijing liaison office has asked the administration to arrest criminals and severely punish their violent acts. In sports, 21-year-old Andrea Robles made waves recently after winning the Macau Indoor Archery Open. Robles pulled off a huge shocker against pre-tournament favorite Sarah Priels of Belgium in the semifinals before downing Paige Pierce of the United States in the finals to win the gold. Robles, who just graduated from Ateneo this year, also defeated China's Xu Lumeng and Australia's Natalie Duncan. The championship gave her a huge boost ahead of her stint in the upcoming Southeast Asian Games hosted by the Philippines from November 30 to December 11 this year. The facade and adjacent convent of San Agustin Church, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Intramuros, Manila, started undergoing restorative cleanup this Friday. Reverend Father Ricky Villar, director of San Agustin Museum, said the last time the church has undergone cleaning was 6 years ago. Villar said with the new breakthrough introduced by cleaning technology giant Karcher, the cleaning process of the church will be faster. The Germany-based firm Karcher chose the historical site to undergo cleaning through its Karcher Cleans the World program. The cleaning process is set to conclude on November 21st. San Agustin Church is the third historical landmark in the country to be refreshed by Karcher. The first two were the Rizal Monument in Luneta, Manila, and the People Power Monument in Quezon City. Let's check the weather update on Typhoon Ramon from Pagasa.
Muli po, magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. Narito po ang ating update sa bagyong Ramon. At kasalukuyan po ay mabagal o hindi halos umalis sa kanyang kilalagyan si Bagyong Ramon. At kaninang 4 ng hapon, nandun pa rin po siya sa layong 490 kilometers silangan ng Tuguegarao City, Cagayan. Pero habang nandun siya sa may East Philippine Sea, humina ang bagyo from 75 kilometers per hour. Ngayon po nasa 65 kilometers per hour. At ang pagbugso ng hangin nasa 80 kilometers per hour. Bukas ng hapon, Sabado, November 16, bagyang kikilos na patimog o north o southwestward ang kilos nito sa layong 330 kilometers silangan ng Kasiguran, Aurora. And then pagdating ng Sunday, November 17 ng hapon, bagyang ito ay kikilos northwestward, mabilis. Inaasahan nating bibilis ang pagkilos niya by Sunday. Ang layo niya 200 kilometers silangan Tuguegarao City. So projected na magalan po sa Cagayan area. Kasalukuyan, nakataas pa rin ang tropical cyclone wind signal number 1. Santa Ana, Gonzaga, Laulo, Gataran, Peñablanca at Bagao. At sa eastern portion ng Isabela, ang mga lugar po doon ay Makunakon, Dibelacan, Palanan at Tinapige. At Northern Aurora, ang mga lugar po doon ay Disalag, Kasigura at Dilalungan. So, ito ay makakaranas po ng within 36 hours kung saan ay maulan at may mga pagbugso ng hangin. Bukas, may inaasahan pa rin tayo ng mahina hanggang sa katamtaman at hanggang kumisan may mga pagbugso-bugsong malalakas na ulan na maranasan sa eastern portion ng Cagayan at Isabela at kasama na rin ng Northern Aurora. Sa Sunday, November 17, meron pa rin mahina hanggang sa katamtamang pag-ulan na may kasamang occasionally heavy rain sa eastern portion ng Cagayan at Isabela.
Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
The DOTr reports accelerated spending in infrastructure due to the administration's Build, Build, Build program. Malacañang looks into proposals to implement a 4-day work week scheme. The NDRRMC thanks the public for participating in the 4th nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. And historic San Agustin Church undergoes cleanup and restoration.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And since it is only 40 more days to go before Christmas, and we understand that the holiday rush is something very excruciating, let's all do our share to keep traffic orderly for the rest of the country. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.